you see you've got it handy. Oh,
But no, I don't really recognize it.
oh, great, fantastic. So you know
Yeah,
how you see all those pictures of like success as a staircase, and it's like 2 steps back and 1 step forward.
sure.
What I
Mhm.
really like about this model is it shows to get to your goal, the first couple of steps are where most people quit because the fear, insanity, the insecurity, as soon as they make a decision, like as soon as they commit to going, okay, cool, this is a reality, this is what I'm going to do, their fear levels just shoot through the roof. Then it's
Mhm.
around this time that they have the opportunity to invest in themselves, and then they see a dip in income. And so that's when they hit step two. And it's at this phase where you combine these two for most people. You know, if someone's scared and they feel insecure and they're worried, and then all of a sudden they're seeing money going out of their bank account before money comes into their bank account, this is the reason why most people quit. And what happens just around the corner is that results start to trickle in. And then at this step three, like if the results aren't coming as fast as they want the results to come in, they
Mhm.
quit as well. So these first three steps are like the trifecta of like the difference between the people that are elite and do really well and the people that just kind of give in and throw in the towel. And I know it kind of like for you it's like sucking eggs because it's like I never give in and I won't give in. But for most people it's a really cool exercise in awareness, especially for the people that you're selling to is as soon as they invest or before they go to make the investment, they'll experience massive fear, insanity, craziness because of the dip in income. And
Mhm.
then what's a natural progression is after that happens, they'll get some results and then they'll break even. Does this make sense?
Sure. Okay.
So, like it doesn't matter what you sell, but any kind of product where the buyer has to buy, they experience massive fear. Right, so
Right.
there's always that. A friend of mine who's a dating coach calls it a tight butthole moment. It's that moment where it's just like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? They invest and they pay their first 3 months, and the results haven't come in yet, or the results have gone slowly. It's around this time that they're susceptible to crash, and this is the period in which, if you can manage for them, if you can literally say to them, you know, I don't know what your timeframes are in your industry, but it's like for the first 90 days, it's very likely for you to want to quit, to worry about the income going out, to get inconsistent results, and to barely break even. If you can, if you can pre-warn them that that's part of the growth of their business, then they're much more likely to stick. They're much more likely to close on the phone because they've got certainty that they know that the process is just a process. Does this make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah. It some of it would apply, some of it definitely wouldn't
Cool.
for my sales cycle and for the way that the like the follow up process or like keeping them on board. I'm not really a part of that.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, we can circle back to it though. But
Yeah.
yeah, I hear you.
So with this stuff, just take what's applicable for your sales process because there'll be some of it that is and some of it that isn't. Like because you're
Sure.
reasonably switched on, you're gonna know a few of the things that we cover already. Just imagine that like we've got to treat everyone like a dum dum and then bring them all up to speed. So if there's ever a moment
Yeah.
where it's like too basic, move on. Just let me know.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I want our relationship to be like tailored, but at the same time, like don't feel like you have to like you know what I mean, like assume I know stuff. Like break it down for me, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I guess I'll speak up if it's like if it's other you know what I mean. But like
Yeah.
yeah, man, you I haven't heard this so
Cool.
totally yeah
So the onboarding process is because it's onboarding and I need everyone to arrive. It's very everyone gets the same process, but
hmm
everything after that is very tailored.
cool
So
perfect
after step four, and we see this like all the time. After they manage to make it through those first couple of stages, then they had a crazy growth spike.
hmm
So this will be I don't know rough time frames for you. It could be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You'll have a massive boost in performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll know it because you'll be sending me messages. You'll be like, "Holy shit, just hit 100K. It's 3 days in, 150. I'm
Yeah.
at 250K for the month. Holy shit, I had my biggest month." And so what happens is, prior to that, you've got to know that there's going to be some tough shit coming, and
Mm-hmm.
it's it does. I don't know what form it'll take for you, but there'll be a moment where there'll be an opportunity for you to get distracted, or you'll kind of feel like, fuck, what am I doing? Or you'll experience some kind of doubt. It may be in your job, it may be in a relationship, it may just be outside of it. But you've just got
Mm-hmm.
to know that the purpose of seeing this is it's normal, right? So in the first 90 days, it's very normal to experience this feeling of like, what the fuck have I done? How do I know that I can make this happen with this dude? You know, all of that in any form that comes. As soon as it hits, just let me know, and we'll bring you back to this so you know that it's just a part of it. Does it make sense?
Right. Yep.
Then what happens is we hit what's called our upper limit. So the reason why we take a dip here is this is where your old conditioning comes in. So this is the, let's say for example, the 70 to 80K wealth band.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you hustle, you'll hustle to the point of, okay, now I've got enough money. You know, like I've made what, 180K this year, 140K this year. I don't need much more than that because it's too far out of my wealth band. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yeah.
So you head down again. So you hit a fear, craziness, and insanity part two.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're going to do in this class, dude, is I just want you to imagine that it's called an upper limit or a glass ceiling. So what I want to do by the end of this call is to raise your glass ceiling to 218,000.
Yep.
So when this moment hits of crazy growth, it doesn't stop at the 70 or 80 unconscious limit. It just keeps fucking going. And you're going to hit another one. Like the thing with mindset is you've got to keep growing the limiting beliefs. So as soon as you hit 218, we'll just push you up another band. So we'll push you up to 100K or whatever that needs to be. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So this is previously what would have happened before is once you've hit that, you kind of you didn't bounce back until it got painful enough. When it hit this point, that you had to push back. Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this is why your results are so inconsistent, was because like when the result is shit, and for you at this point here, that's when you're most motivated. You know, like if you have a bad month this month, I guarantee you next month's going to be fucking huge because you'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
stuff that. I want to really make this work.
Right.
And so this is the cycle that you're on. It's like you hit a big month, but then you have to come down to relieve the tension from that wealth band that you've got on you.
Right.
Making sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the small dip
It's hard to
is,
admit, but it's hard to argue with.
what was that?
It's hard to admit, but it's hard to argue with, you know?
Yeah, good on you. Good on you. That's the attitude. Um, it's unavoidable, dude. Like, this is why when people say get rich quick and like shortcuts is this, I'm like, you're fucking idiots because you can't not experience this. Like, if you're human, you're going to experience the limits of your tribe. You,
Mm-hmm.
we just have to. But the really cool thing is, our unconscious mind is like an eager child that just wants to please you. So as soon as we discover that it has a limit, we just encourage it to raise the limit. because
Hmm.
that's all it is. It's not. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to have a big story about it. If you got the right tools, then you basically just allow the unconscious mind to be scared and then raise the limit. Um,
Gotcha.
I appreciate that, dude, and thank you for the honesty. Um, and it doesn't matter where you are in your business, dude. Like I hit my upper limit, I think about 90 days ago at a specific revenue amount. And I started noticing it showed up as like procrastination, um, well, procrastination, something else, blah, and blah. And then I was
Hmm.
speaking to my coach at the time because like it's really hard to figure out what your limit is with your own thinking
Hmm.
because you know this, dude. Like if you already knew what it was, you'd fix it. And
Right.
so I jumped on the phone with him straight away and he goes, "Oh, cool! You just reached a new wealth upper limit or a new business success limit. So now let's change your values to match where you want to go, and let's coach you on the limiting beliefs that stop you from getting there." And sure enough, I think that was about 90 days ago. 90 days later, May's been the biggest month I've had in business in 2 years.
There you go.
So it's totally normal. It doesn't matter how far along you go or who you are. You will experience a tiny dip, but it's what we choose to do with the dip that matters.
Hmm.
Any questions about this slide?
No, not so far.
Cool. What are your key takeaways from this?
Um, just awareness, just being aware of them. It's like half the battle. Like
Yeah,
it's like you see yourself doing it, but like you don't want to put a name on it or something.
yeah,
You don't want to be like, oh, that's what it is. It's my limiting beliefs, right? You're just like, oh, okay. It's you want to believe the the reasons that are stopping you, that
yeah,
like the thing, like you're procrastinating, whatever it is, just because of those. You know what I mean? The
yeah.
surface level stuff. No, cool.
Awesome. It's called safe versus risky problems.
Hmm.
So, for example, like the safe problem for me was the procrastination. Like I started slowing down. I wasn't doing my marketing, wasn't writing content, and that was like a procrastination. Now, the risky problem or the scary one that I had to face was shit. The only reason why you're not performing, dude, is because it's in your own head. You're actually limitless.
Hmm.
And so what we do is we create safe problems, like little things to keep us fucking busy, being on Facebook, procrastination, all that stupid shit, to
Hmm.
conveniently convince us that we don't have to take care of the risky one.
Yeah. Right.
So like our ego keeps us occupied with all the safe shit, so we don't have to change because the ego just wants to keep you safe, and safe is
Right.
sameness. Does
Right.
this make sense?
Yep. Totally.
So, so the more risky problems you can embrace in this journey, like the more times you notice resistance or the more times you notice safeness, and I'm like, that's a risky problem, and you embrace that, it's like slaying a dragon, right? The risky problem shows up as this like fucking scary, ridiculous thing that we don't want to do, and behind every dragon's a fucking treasure. So if you're able to get rid of the dragon, then you'll be able to experience some kind of treasure, whether it's financial or whether it's just an internal resource within your head, like a like a like an uncovering of your potential. This is how I
Okay.
look at it. So whenever I experience that fear, I'm like, fuck, there's a dragon there. Slay the dragon. What's behind it?
Hmm.
Make sense?
Yep.
Great. Any questions before we move on?
No.
Stuff. So, three core attributes to success. Um, you're really good at a couple of these, and you may be starting to notice now how your mindset is your best friend and your worst enemy. So what I mean by that is your conscious mind is just like a fucking unstoppable machine. It's just like We can do this. Let's make it happen. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And it struggles to allow itself to go, you know, what if there was something that wasn't right? Do you remember that part on the call where I was telling you, it's like, it's not about you being capable. You fucking got this. I know this. But if you did know what the problem was, you would have solved it.
Yeah.
So this comes under awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like you said, we can't know what we don't know. Mm-hmm. And my job is not to ask you questions from shit that you already know. It's to stand outside of your awareness, outside of the circle, and ask you something that your current thinking couldn't access. So Einstein talks about it. He says, we cannot solve the problem with the same thinking that created it.
Okay.
And that's how I want you to think about awareness. Is your natural awareness and your natural aptitude to growth is fucking rare.
We cannot solve the problem.
Yeah. So the same thinking,
the same line of thinking.
Yeah, the same thinking that created the problem cannot solve the problem. So we need to have new thinking to solve the problem, is what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my job for you, is to, when we have a problem, it's never the problem, it's the thinking.
Yep.
And this is your biggest gift and curse to your question.
Perfect.
And this is why people beat themselves up, dude. Like, you know, you drive yourself crazy thinking for 6 months, using the same thinking over and over and over again, trying to solve the problem. But it was never you. It was just the thinking.
Sure. Yep.
And that's what he calls the definition of insanity. Is it's like definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Right.
So I want you to see awareness in this context is 50-50. Half you and half being asked questions from outside of your current paradigm. Make sense?
Yep. I dig it.
Yeah, nice. The first one here is contribution. And with the style of marketing and so Kong does direct response marketing, is that right? Where it's like, yeah, cool. Do you provide lead magnets and that kind of thing? And
yeah, big time.
Yeah, awesome. So you kind of already understand the idea of contribution in the sense that you're literally just there to help and facilitate their business, and the sale is a consequence of that help.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really need to explain contribution to you because I think you've got it. And then resilience, like, and I'm going to teach you how to suck eggs, dude. Like, you wouldn't be in sales if you didn't have resilience. So for you, the main one here.
6 years of door-to-door knocking, purely commission.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really, like, hang in there if you don't have a little bit of resilience.
That's it. So the main one here is just understanding that awareness is twofold. It's what you're able to think, and it's also outside of your paradigm. That's why I still have a coach, and I'll always have a coach. Is because I know that my mind is much better when someone is pulling me out of my current thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because then if I'm growing and I'm always a couple of steps ahead of my clients, then there's no reason for them to ever leave. Because I'm always learning something new. I'm always expanding my thinking so I can expand theirs. The day you stop doing that, is the day that my results will plummet.
Yep.
Cool. Oh, any questions about that last one?
No.
This one's cool. I fucking love this slide. So we kind of talked about this on the phone in the sense that your current character and your future character, the only difference between the two is skills and beliefs that are needed. And so in this case, it's sales results. So all you need is some different kind of skills, or to improve your skills, and we'll just add a bunch of beliefs that actually excuse me, that actually serve you. So tell me a little bit about what your current character might believe about 280,000, 218,000. So not what your conscious mind tells you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think some of the core beliefs of your current character might be?
That it's unlikely to achieve it.
Yep.
That it's going to be too much work. That it's unrealistic. That it's a stretch, you know. That there may not be enough leads, quality leads to do it. That my close rate isn't high enough to be able to make, to get enough deals to close in order to achieve it.
Yep.
Those are those doubt, things in the back. That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Brilliant. And what do you think, if you could imagine what the guy who made $280,000 in a year, what does he believe?
That there's a system in place to reach any level that you're after, that there's an abundance of quality leads and there's an abundance of need for the service, and that there's plenty of value to deliver in order to achieve the sales required to hit the numbers.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. We're going to go further into this, but I just want you to practice that feeling the difference between your current character and what the future character believes.
Mm-hmm.
Try this on for me. That maybe one of your greatest fears at the moment would be the loss of your partner.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked this dude is there's three core fears, and we do everything we can to make sure those fears don't become a reality. And there's the fear of not being good enough. There's the fear of not being worthy, and there's the fear of losing love. Fear of not being lovable. And so, for most of the people that I meet, it's the fear of, what would my lady think of me, or what would life be like if I made all this money and I didn't have anyone to share it with. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And so when you got into the relationship, dude, chances are that fear fired up within you. It's like, shit, if I work really hard, then I'll have to experience my greatest fear, which is the loss of love. Is this resonating?
Definitely possible.
Yeah.
This is actually the first girl that I've ever met that I actually care about.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. It truly has nothing to do with the amount of time that we've seen someone, or it's like you kind of just know. When someone means a lot to you, you just know. And it just primes up. It's the same for me, dude. Like, my greatest fear is the loss of my partner, Donna. If that was to become a reality, I would come out swinging. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would make everything I could fucking do in my power to keep her in my life.
Yeah, right.
Because that's my greatest fear, is to lose love, is to lose her love. And for a while, it held me back because I used to have a belief that I couldn't be in a relationship and be successful in business. Because I felt like if I succeeded in business, then it would hurt my relationship, and then I'd have to experience my fear of losing love. Is resonating with you?
Dude, yeah. Definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So what I realized was that my greatest fear could be my greatest limit and also my greatest. So,
and also your greatest what you cut out.
motivator.
Yeah.
And so when we're not aware that what our greatest fear is, it's really hard to change the perspective on it and turn it into something positive.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
So, I mean, because you're spot on, dude. Like, that's definitely one of the greatest fears in my life right now, because I've found someone that I've like definitely like love, and I'm like, okay, this is definitely different, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that it's impacted me the way that you're mentioning. So are you saying that, because I feel like it, you know, you could spin it the other way and use and like link the two together, where it's like you use that fear as your motivation to do the things required, like you use that as your success momentum of like, okay, well, if I'm worried about that, then, you know, being successful at work would obviously combat that, right?
Yeah.
Or
That's it.
not quite the way I want to spin it, but yeah, is that what you're saying? Like,
Yeah.
using that as your because obviously there's a lot of fuel there,
Yes.
right? So harnessing that fuel and putting it like into the machine that serves you.
Yes. That's it, dude. Spot on. So, yeah, you've absolutely nailed it. So it's really, if we don't know or we're not aware that our greatest fear is that we might lose the love, then it's really hard to pick that up and say, now that's going to be the reason why I fucking succeed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it feels good.
Yeah, nice. So for me, dude, it's like my greatest joy is to be like, babe, I fucking stepped the fuck up today. I had the biggest month in business. She's like, I'm proud of you. Like, for me, because the fear used to be, holy shit, I might lose you if I succeed. Now it's like, if I don't succeed, I'll lose you. Because I want to be the fucking man that you deserve. I don't want you to be fucking ashamed of me, like, because I don't make the things that you want.
Right.
So that greatest fear, once I was aware of it, I just flipped it and I said, well, that's going to be the reason why.
Yep. I like it.
Does that sit with you?
Yep. It does sit with me.
Great. So, awesome. So let that be your, because once you're aware, like when you're unaware of that fear, that's why a lot of the, your unconscious mind tries to sabotage you, because it's like, come on, bro, like, don't be too successful, dude, because you might actually lose love. But because your conscious mind isn't aware that that's the thing, you don't know how to solve it, right? This is an example of outside of your awareness. Now that you're aware, you can allow your conscious mind, which is so fucking good at, to just go, okay, cool, well, now that's the reason why we succeed. Because I want my girl to have everything she fucking wants. Like, if she wants a nice car, she can have a nice car. If she wants to decorate the lounge, she can decorate the lounge.
Right.
You know? Like, there's a real kind of, for me, and I don't know for you, but there's a real bravado in that I don't need to tell anyone. Like, it's not like I need to tell all my mates that she can have whatever the fuck she wants and we can go on whatever holidays. We can stay in 5-star hotels. It's not about that. It's about me knowing that if she wanted it, I can make it happen.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. What are your key takeaways from this slide?
I don't know. I kind of zoomed out of the slide. That's just in the chat. So
yeah.
Whatever. I like what happened on this slide. So
yeah.
No, man, I just that really resonates with me. Exactly what you're saying.
So if you can language your learnings, you solidify your neurology. So what that means is it stays active in you. So it doesn't have to be about the slide, just about that mini conversation that we had. What had stuck out for you?
Okay. What stuck out for me was that, first off, you're spot on. That's definitely my biggest fear right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely like just there because it's still a young relationship, you know?
Yeah.
And things are going well, but yeah, it's just there. And I can totally see how it would be impacting my belief system around, you know, what I can achieve, you
Yeah.
know, at work. And I can also see how, with the right thinking and the right kind of reprogramming of how I associate it, that I could totally use that as fuel because there's so much fuel there.
Yeah. Well done. Good on you.
So yeah, I'm excited to I can see it. Like I can see the how that could work.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Beautiful. It's like I said, dude, you got a Lambo in between your ears, and there was just something in the engine that was causing it to slow down. And
Mm-hmm.
it'll just be a couple of tweaks, and then it's fucking gone. Like you'll be away.
Oh man, you're freaking hilarious, dude. You just like, I swear, you're just like picking up on that shit from like our first meeting. You know, I'm visual, and
Yeah.
like you know, like my type. So you're just like you pulling out Lambo shit. Can you use Tesla for me, please? Use a Tesla, dude. You know I don't need that loud ass screaming Lambo, dude. I want that Tesla, man. I want that quiet purring kitten that just flies through. It is totally under the radar, man. Like no one even sees it coming. But it'll smoke that Lambo every time. That's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
All right, got it. Teslas.
But yeah, I love it. I love it though, man. Yeah, that's
Good
cool.
on you.
Cool.
So this is what we call the cone of learning, and this is what I was just kind of touching on before, is that 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see is what we'll remember. Now, if you say to me what you're learning, what your takeaways are, you'll retain it even more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So obviously the mecca is doing it, and we already know that you're a doing machine, so I don't need to tell you how to suck eggs there. But when if it's just in your head, you'll forget it more. If you can speak it, share it, write about it, do key learnings on it. Our unconscious mind loves threes. So that's why for each one of the classes I've said just write down 3 key learnings of what you took away. Our brain only has 7 chunks available at any one time. So what I mean by that is it's an idea from the School of NLP called the map is not the territory. What that means is there's this like constant soup of information, 2 million bits of info hitting our brain all of the time, right? So an example of that would be how the seat or wherever you're sitting feels, or how the fabric of your clothing feels, or what the temperature of the air is, or how fast your breathing is. A lot of that you're not conscious of because it's not important. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's automatic. And so we don't occupy our focus with things like, oh, how do I breathe now? Because it's programmed into us. And so from this 2 million bits of information, our brain distorts, deletes, and generalizes it into 128 bits. I don't know where these numbers come from. It's just the School of NLP. And the way that it does that is it filters through your beliefs, your standards, your attitudes, your values, a myriad of other things to create the perception or to create the projection that matches your perception. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. When you're a child, you believed that Santa was real, right? So whatever happened, while you still believe Santa was real, you distorted and generalized and deleted anything else that supported that Santa wasn't real. And so you started to notice, inverted commas, magic. You know, like you accepted that somebody ate half a cookie and drank milk that snuck in through the chimney.
Right.
Right. So we delete all of the logic and generalization based on the belief. So another example is when you said something along the lines of like, I don't know if it's possible, or uncertainty, or there was something. And I was like, it's just a belief, dude. Like the version of you that creates this result exists. The only thing that is in the way of it actualizing is any of the beliefs, attitudes, values, identities that you hold that act as your filters to create your reality.
Right, because I'll support whatever I believe, right?
Yeah, you'll find evidence for what you want to believe.
Right.
This makes sense?
Yep, definitely.
So
if
this
I say I can't, if I say that it's going to, if I say basically that I just don't think it'll work, like I'll find supporting evidence to back that.
Yeah, spot on. So there's another success principle from the School of NLP called "What we focus on is what we get." And so, or
Sorry, say that again. Cut out.
What we focus on is what we get.
Yep. Okay.
Or what we focus on expands.
Yep.
To the exclusion of everything else. Right. So if you're focused on this goal happening, and your beliefs are aligned with that goal and your values are aligned with that goal, the opportunities for that goal to happen will expand. Right? So you'll see the ability to close in situations that maybe you didn't think could close before.
Okay.
Because now you're looking for the evidence of how can this goal be true?
Right. Yeah, totally, right? Yeah, the phone call ends and, there's nothing I could do to change that guy's mind. Whereas, there wasn't anything I could do with that line of thinking.
Yes. Yeah, well done. So this is the thing where this is why this is so powerful in our minds is understanding that however we choose to see the world will be exactly how we see the world. And the reality in which you do create your goals exist within you. This work together is not about installing anything in you that's not already there. So you're not getting anything new from me that you don't already have access to. What I'm doing for you is to help peel back the layers and the conditioning to reconnect you with the version of Brock that is a $250,000, $220, whatever the fucking number earner a year.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And your investment is an investment in you and how much you fucking believe that you can pull it off. This is the thing about charging is it doesn't matter what industry you're in. It really is just a sense of certainty that they now have the permission to create the fucking change that already exists within them.
Yep.
I did a post about this the other day because it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Like the business owner is the same. They're just looking for a shot at redemption. The reason why they got into business is so that they could meet their potential, so that they could actually provide freedom and have time for their family. But underneath all of that is because they want to be a fucking leader. They want to be a boss. They want to be a man. They want to step up and be them. They'll never admit to it because they'll tell you, oh, they need more leads and they want to grow their revenue and they want to grow their cash flow. That's the surface reason. Underneath all of that is the guy feels like he's not doing his job at home and he's not bringing enough fucking money home. And it sucks because he's scared of losing his wife and he doesn't want his kids to see that his dad's a big fucking failure. That's why he really buys. So I don't know how we got here. That was a bit ranty, but
no, totally right. Totally.
Yeah, so they're like, when we sell, it's really what they say they want versus what they actually need is very different.
Right. Yeah.
And this will be something that I'll teach you how to discover, especially within your industry. The main reason people buy is for freedom and time with family. It's give me more money, give me more time. That's the core admitted reason why they buy. The hidden reason is I want to feel like a man. I want to provide. I want to leave a legacy. I want to be a role model for my kids.
Yep.
That's the hidden reason why they buy. So the purpose of sharing you the model of thinking and what we focus on expands is whenever you watch the content, you'll only be able to take up to 7 chunks of information. So after this, you'll only be able to remember 7 key takeaways, and the rest will kind of feel like a blur. So you'll take away what's most important to you right now from this reality, and you'll use it to create results. You could come back to the same video 30 days from now, and you'll hear a completely different message, and you'll swear I never said that. But it's because at the time, it wasn't relevant to your current situation. So you deleted it and distorted it from your reality. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it does. Because when I sign on clients, they decided to tell our team that I said other things that I didn't. So I know how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I really encourage you to do is, like, after you've watched it once, go through again. Because there'll be something else that you'll be able to solve. Now, the key thing is to ask yourself, like, if I watch this again, what is my specific intention? Like, what problem am I experiencing right now that I want to solve? And then hold that in your mind and go through the lesson. You go, cool. So right now I want to solve how to close more. What can I see in this resource that will help me learn to close more? Because what you focus on expands. You're priming your mind to go, it's important to know how I close more. So you'll find things to fit the context of closing more.
Sure.
So I set the context for you in this one, which was about mindset. Right, so it was unconsciously primed in the first session, where I'm directing your mind to want to grow from a mindset perspective. Because for me,
we could put any title on this, right? And
what was that?
We could put different titles on that and prime it to be about that, and my brain would associate what we're talking about to improving that area.
That's it. Yeah. So it's like I'm just putting a filter on this for your conscious mind to be like, okay, cool. So just look through this through the mindset. What can we take away here to improve our mindset? And so one of the things that you found is that turning the fear of loss of love into motivation, it just so happens to be mindset.
Right.
Does it make sense? Wicked. So, so to tie this all together, you'll only remember, say, 7 chunks is generous because you'll have other things in your life that occupy your mind. For example, if you needed to do washing today, then washing will be taking up 1 chunk of your mind. So now you've got 6 left. Let's say that you had unpaid bills, right? So unpaid bills take up another chunk in your mind. Now you got 5 left. And so this is why our brains are not to-do lists. So if you're still in the habit of having a to-do list in your head, I don't know, then that needs to change immediately, because your to-do list will dump based on what's most important to you in that current moment. Does this make sense?
Yeah. Can you repeat that, though, just so I can kind of lock that in? So you have 7.
So you have 7 chunks available. So the 2 million bits are hitting information. It's hitting you. It gets distorted, deleted, and generalized down to 128. Then from that 128, you create 7 chunks. Now, those chunks may already be taken up because you may have something that's pressing, like you've got to do the laundry, or it's your anniversary, or So that chunk won't be available to create learning.
Okay.
So the reason why I say do 3 key learnings is it's not 7 because I know you got other shit going on. And it's not 5 because that might be a bit too much. But 3 is just this really nice number in which you can do it. You can do more, but 3 is something that you should be always able to do.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Fair enough. Yep.
Cool. Any questions about what we've just had a mini discussion about? It might not be this slide, but just practice. What are your takeaways from what you just heard?
I was trying to think of what we just covered prior to the 7 chunks.
Yeah.
But that's a really good takeaway anyways, is just to I guess, I know what it was. 2 things, 2 big takeaways for me on this one is just the filter at which we see things. I guess when I was thinking about, a sales call, and when, if the sales call ends and we didn't get to a deal on that one, and I have a mindset of there's nothing I could have done. And that could be the case for that situation where my mind was. But if I'm opened up and removed these limiting filters in the way that I'm seeing a sale, it would increase the solutions that I could offer over the phone. So thereby, increasing the likelihood of coming to an agreement with someone over the phone, right? Coming to an agreement on a deal. And just like the Santa Claus thing, like you're mentioning, those are, if you have a belief of something and you've set that filter up because you've already gone, well, I know this, so therefore I can just, filter all this other crap out because that doesn't support it'll limit you. So kind of being aware of those, and then also just, just as you put mindset on the front of this, if you've labeled something and have, established that you're in search of a mindset training, and that's the forefront of what we're going through, then my brain is going to go, cool, let's find supporting facts to take away to improve my mindset. Whereas if there was no title and it was here's some things we might cover, then we'll probably still learn some stuff, but it'll just be all over the place, maybe having a specific focus of it. And so to use that to our advantage moving forward is when we look at the breakdown of the 2 million bits, 128 breakdown, and then, having really 7 chunks is us grabbing 3, per training and being okay, we're going to get 3 takeaways from this. Then you're kind of setting yourself up to maximize efficiency of your, your brain and what's realistic and what's, not doing overkill. But, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Spot on, dude. Great learnings. Yeah, so, damn, there's something I wanted to add.
What's that?
There was something I wanted to add. It's just slipped. No, it'll come back. That's good for now. So you would have heard this one. This is from Jim Rohn. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So within a work context, if the majority of the people, I think I asked you this, if the majority of the people are content being average, then you will bounce your results off them. This is why when you're at home and you're alone, you're actually doing really well, is because the average of the 5 people was really just you.
I was bringing up the average.
Yeah. Bringing up the average.
I just cut the other 5 people out of your life and soar. Just kidding.
Yeah. So at the moment, it'll be a partner, it'll be maybe a best friend, and then a couple of people at work. And so when it comes to work productivity, if they're not in the similar job or they don't have the same understanding, it's never conscious. They never maliciously say, don't do it. They just, because of their reality or their map of the world, their filters, they're not the same as yours. They'll just
Right.
see your situation differently.
Yep.
So what I would suggest is, other than your partner, you don't tell anyone about your results at work.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll explain why in a moment. So if you think about the other people that we might tell, it's like friends, it's family, and none of them have the results that we want when it comes to successful business.
None of them have the results we want. What do you mean?
So none of them will be doing $220,000 in their business.
Right.
Yeah. So what they'll do is they'll like interpret and they'll feed back to you their standards about what they think about your goal.
Right. Like
And
I tell my mom, and she'll go, "Oh my gosh, that's the most money we've never made that much in a week in 5 months."
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to be making that much."
Yes. That's it, dude. Spot on. So
okay, my mom's getting cut out.
you just
I'm listening, Coach.
It's funny because I did the same thing with my parents when I was building my business. Is like they'd ask me like, how's your job, or how's the business? It's going really, really well. Thanks for asking. How are you? So it wasn't that I didn't want to talk to them about it. It was like, because my parents collectively don't earn. It's similar to you, dude. Like they never earned a lot. Dad was a youth pastor when we were young. He made $35,000 a year. Mum was the rich nurse. She made $40,000 a year. When I was 21, I made $100,000 in a year. So from a very early age, I was like, fuck, I can make money.
Right.
So whenever they ask, I'm just like, it's really, really good. I absolutely love what I do, and I'm having a really great time. I never talk about my goals and my income with them.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Now, the question is, where can I talk about that? You talk about it with me all the time. I fucking love hearing results, dude. Like, if you're like, dude, I just made 14K in commission this month, I'll be so happy. Like, I'll be telling my partner, Donna, I'll be like, he fucking did it. He had a 14K month, and I get jacked on that shit, dude. And
for sure.
that's the difference. Like, you want to say it to people where, like, they also go, 14K is great. When are you doing 20? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yes and more. Let's keep going together. I want to be jacked on your success. Like, I can smashed it. Well done for hitting your goal. What's next?
Yep.
Rather than, holy shit, that's a lot. Do you really need to work that hard? Wow, you've made more money than we ever need to make.
Right.
Does this make sense?
Yeah. Well, yeah, just the people in the office, they know the numbers we do, and they have limiting beliefs that they're setting on us. Like, I'm working next to like the guys that actually, do the SEO, do the designing, and they see our numbers. They know what we make. It's no secret. Like the sales guys, because our numbers are up front and center.
Yeah.
So you hear them saying limited things like, whoa, that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? Just saying stuff like, geez, you guys make so much money. And it's just like, it's actually a limiting thing that they're saying.
Yeah.
When they say that.
Yeah. So it's really just pick who you share your goal with.
Yep.
Especially when it's money, because people get fucking weird about it, dude.
Yeah, right.
Like, can I be self-indulgent for a moment?
Yeah.
I'm on track to do 100K this month. And if I tell that to like my parents, that's more than they both make in a year.
Yeah. Yep.
They freak the fuck out, dude. So you've just got to be really, really careful who you share that stuff with. And so it's not about, I know we joke about it, but we don't cut people out. We just be very selective about who we share, what's important to us. Because unconsciously, they'll just be like, are you sure you need that?
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yep.
Cool.
I'm just taking notes on that.
Yeah. So with me, dude, like it's always, I want to hear about everything. I want to hear about
Yeah.
the shit, the epic. What would work really well is like after every sales call, you send me just a quick voice message about like what went well, what you think was missing, and then you do.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
And then you do what? Sorry.
Then you'll do the next call. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be able to really do that well, man. I'm on a floor.
yeah. Could you?
Like sending you stuff right away. You know, I'm kind of in I'm in two places about this, man. You have to tell me what you think the best way of going about it is. Like in one way, it's like I see the value in other people knowing that I'm reached out to a coach.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I don't really want to publicize what I'm doing in front of the boys upstairs.
Yeah.
Like I don't really feel like I don't want their feedback.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I don't want them getting in my head or saying anything that's going to like impact the way I like, cause I have a perception about the value of this relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to be like just like what we just said. Like seriously, I mean, I've already consciously considered, okay, if I go to work and I'm like, oh yeah, I hired a coach, right?
Yeah.
I'm already concerned about, I don't want their feedback because I don't really, this is from a respect thing. If you don't mind me kind of sharing this with you.
Yeah.
None of the guys in the office are that studied and are that like switched on. I love them all and they're great. And some of them are great salespeople, but I don't really feel like they are as connected and like switched on in the sense of like being aware of how they'll impact. And I feel like I don't respect like necessarily their opinion on what I should or shouldn't do.
Yep.
If that makes sense. There's other people in the office I would have more, but not those guys. And so I kind of like don't know how to, you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out how to wade this correctly, and maybe you can help me in kind of identifying the best way to, you know.
Well, here's the thing. If you can create a self-evaluation loop in your sales calls, your results are going to go skyrocket much faster. Now, you can either just send a quick email just afterwards, like this went well, this didn't go well. You can fire it off to me. It can be a text. It can be a voice message. I don't really care how it gets to me. I just want to see you reflecting on your call.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Cool. Yep.
I get it, dude. Like most people, if you say, I want a coach to help me get to the next level, they go, I don't believe in that shit. I know the best.
Rock, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need someone to, you know what I mean? Just whatever. I've already heard them saying stuff like, cause you know, we take a fair bit of inquiries from life coaches.
Yeah.
And, you know, business consultants and all these different, you know, people. And a lot of them are contacting us, asking us for help, and they don't even have a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're wannabes straight up. You know what I mean? And so I think that it's impressed. Like I've just heard the guys talk, you know, just kind of go off about, oh, another life coach that doesn't even have any clients. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like, and so like I just like, oh fuck, man, I don't want their feedback.
Yeah. Cool. So here's the thing: let your results do the talking.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is one of the attitudes that I have. Is something I don't care what people think, but I'll just let my numbers speak.
Yep.
You know, like someone's like, "Oh, you're a life coach." I'm like, yeah, dude, I am. Yeah. And like to me, it's just like you have no idea of the world that I exist in, and I'm totally cool with it.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I obviously get it, right? I invested. Like, I get it, and I believe that. Like, if I didn't have a strong belief that, like that, you know, a mentorship through yourself and a contribution of, you know, collaborating with you and soaking up what you have would benefit me, I wouldn't be parting with my money. right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just like, you just don't want the feedback from guys that like you already know that doesn't click for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
100%.
yeah.
And their
Okay. Well, look,
results.
I can do that. There's definitely, I may not be able to do it exactly the way you mentioned, but I'll definitely be able to
Yeah.
jot down what's going on in the calls and like communicate with you.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely a way to do that. And I can also, I can pull recordings of my calls as well.
Oh, wicked. Okay. We'll figure out a way to do that because that'd be great.
Yeah.
I'll do some call reviews with you. So, because there'll be certain patterns that we can pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wonderful. Cool. Just remind me to do that with you. Yeah. To be like, can we do a call review? I
Mm-hmm.
reckon we should do them at least once every fortnight when we get started. And then we'll probably only need to do one once every month. Because you'll be the kind of person who'll just pick it up really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So, yeah, so it doesn't have to be daily. I'd prefer like the way I worked with my mentor when I first started was I would go to a call, have the call, text them afterwards, and then go to the next call, text them afterwards. I only had 3 or 4 appointments a day, and I was driving, so I had time to send a voice message.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for
Right.
me, that accelerated my results just retardedly fast.
Okay. It's pretty fast paced. A lot of times I'm getting off of a strategy session and immediately jumping on another call,
cool.
like literally back to back.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely a way I can do it. And there's going to be times where I can slip away as well and go in one of the meeting rooms and just record a quick video. Like it's a pretty autonomous environment. I'm not like clocking in and sitting at my desk and can't walk away. Like I can roam.
Yeah.
I can manage my own time and stuff. So there will be opportunities for me to walk away and do some recordings on occasion too.
So just find what works with you. It could be end of day summary of what you're learning. It could be once a week. Just whatever fits in with you and your environment will work.
Yep. Cool.
Any questions about our conversation so far?
Nope.
Any key distinctions that you think are worth mentioning?
Anything you recall that I not to flip it back to you, man, but I'm like, is there anything that you notice hit home with me? So to remind me, maybe?
Yeah. So choosing who you share your goals with.
Yeah. That's right. I did write that down. Okay, cool. Yep.
So you get it, right? Like it comes from a place of love. It's just like, I'm just not going to talk to you about money and results in business.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, definitely. Cool. I like it.
Anything else you want to add?
Well, more importantly, it makes sense. I'm not just doing it just to listen to you and go, okay, so don't share those numbers with my parents. I don't know why, but just don't. It's like, okay, there's a reason for it. Here's why. That makes sense. I get why I don't. And then also just, in different areas as well of my life, like how, you just think about the feedback that you're getting from people and like, just being aware of how that can subconsciously affect you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yep.
So feedback loops. This is, we kind of covered this in our first call about, for example, the relationship. You got in a relationship, then there was an effect, and then the feedback was, well, we actually know what the feedback was now. It was along the lines of, if I work too hard, I might lose my relationship, and that's important to me. So there's going to be a few of these that happen throughout the course of our work together. And so you'll be experiencing an effect of something. And what I'll do is I'll be like, so what was the defining moment? What was the thing, the situation, the conversation that happened first, the action that caused the effect, and what was the story that you told yourself?
Right.
Because it's the story that we tell ourselves that's everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can either make it mean, I'll give you an example. So I had a client earlier this month, and he said he was going to put down a $5,000 deposit, and I think something fucking happened, and I think I was using PayPal, and he put it down, and then he did something fucking dodgy in the back of PayPal, and he retracted it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the sale went to shit, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And so that was the action, and the effect was, it could have been anything, right? So I could have decided that, oh, I bunged the sale, and now this month's going to be shit, or I can choose the feedback of, fucker, I'll just sign another 5. And that was the meaning that I gave that event. I lost once and now I signed 5. And I was in control of the feedback that I was going to give myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose the meaning.
Yep.
So it would be completely accurate to make that mean, like, oh, I failed and I suck and I'm a bad salesperson and I can't do this, which is what a lot of people do. Or when you've developed the resilience and the awareness, you can go, you know what, this is just another feedback loop. I'm going to decide that this means that May is going to be the biggest month I've ever had. And funny enough, May's the biggest month I've had so far. So this is the power of understanding feedback loops. So for you, it's being consciously monitoring self, going, okay, this is an action, this is an effect. What have I made this mean? And have I given this a meaning that supports my goal? Or did I give this a meaning that takes me away from my goal?
Yep.
So another example is when you chose to invest in you in this, we've created a new feedback loop. So the action is investing, the effect is the program, and now the feedback is, I can make this fucking happen.
Yep.
Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we're always creating feedback loops. Always. Some of them support us, some of them don't support us. Now, it's the ones that don't support us that we need to be aware of, and we need to control the meaning.
Yep.
Are there any feedback loops that are coming to your mind at the moment that you want to explore?
Yeah, I guess, just this, this exact, like our coaching session, right? Like there's, if this is in the right context, I guess, when you make an investment like that and you make a commitment, excuse me. When you make an investment like that, well, for me anyways, it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm in, let's roll. And then, you have like, you have feedback that comes back from that, like, oh, well, what happens if I don't, what happens if this doesn't like pay off for me? What happens if I don't quite achieve where I need to be to make this a good investment? Things like that. Is that in the same context? Like
yeah.
The feedback.
Yeah. So you created a feedback loop around it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, I guess, when you're bouncing those things and just being aware of them and taking hold of that, and just like what you said, taking in like control of that feedback loop and choosing the meaning, right? Like, so I can choose basically to make this a good investment or not.
That's it. Spot on.
So I'm going to give this a meaning that supports my goal, not sabotages it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just like the same way, if the other fellas found out you had a coach, you could choose the meaning that you gave that. So the meaning could be, they think I'm shit or something. Or you could choose the meaning that I'm fucking smart enough to figure out that the quickest way between A and B is to follow someone that fucking did it.
Yeah.
You know, the fastest way from point A to point C is to improve my mindset and my skills. But cool, done. Right? Fuck them off. See you at the top.
Yeah. Right.
So everything's a feedback loop. And you got ultimate control
definitely.
over it.
And to go into that further, I guess, one of the concerns that, I'll admit to is that it would be embarrassing to basically go out and do something and invest in take a big action of getting support and being like, yeah, I'm going to take this really seriously, and then still underperforming. That would be embarrassing to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that would be another reason why I would be thoughtful of not saying anything, right? If I was worried about that, which I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about that. You know?
Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yep.
So the thing with sales results is that if you know what numbers to focus on, you've always got control.
You always got control.
Yeah. So what I hear when you say that is, is like, that's totally normal response as well. It's like, do I have a choice over whether or not I can achieve my results?
Right.
Now,
right, because I've never felt like I was that in control before.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I've had good months and I've had bad months, but I've never felt like I'm in complete control to just turn that on and off.
Yeah.
I've just seen it. And then, of course, when I am having good months, I do feel in control. Like, it's like, okay, cool. But when it's like, I've been in an up and down state long enough to be like, okay, I clearly don't have my finger on the button. It clearly hasn't been like that in control. So that's definitely,
Yeah. Well, I'm going to teach you how to be in control, dude.
Yeah. Cool.
So the theme of our work together is you're going to know exactly why you didn't make a sale. You're going to know exactly why you didn't hit your target. There is no reason. You will never feel out of control of your results. We haven't got to that class yet, but I promise you will never feel like you fluked it or you don't control your results.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's effectively, most people, when they say they want to control their results, they're controlling the wrong thing. They're controlling the dollar at the end of the day, not everything leading up to it. Right? So this is a whole class, but the soundbite on it is, you would have seen this, right? The law of averages in door knocking is you knock on 9 doors and 1 opens.
Right.
And it's the same here. So all we need to figure out is your key metrics around how many calls did you make? What was the conversion from strategy to consultation? What was the conversion from consultation to deal? And just measuring those numbers. And then okay, cool. So my strategy to consultation call, so my free call to a sales call, that conversion was shit. So what can I do about that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then my consultation call to sign to client conversion was shit. So how can I improve that?
Yep.
It's the how can I improve that gives you choice and power.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll make sure that we'll cover that next week then. So we'll cover the lead versus lag measures.
Okay.
Cool.
That'd be important.
Yeah. So, any questions on this?
No.
Brilliant. So, the law of natural selection, you'll like this one. So, there's only ever 4 doors that we can walk through. There's door D, doesn't do what you say and doesn't get results, then blames you. Doesn't do what you
Mm.
say, drops off. Does partly what you say, gets mediocre results. And A does what you say and gets great results.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you at any point during this can choose any one of the fucking doors that you want.
Right.
And I can basically bring you down the hallway, give you the keys to all of the doors, say this is the best door to take, but I can't go through the door for you.
Yeah.
And this is a classic example of the people in your workplace where it's like they do partly what they're meant to do and they get mediocre results.
Right.
And they're the kind of clients who if they did have a coach, they wouldn't do what the coach said, then they wouldn't get results, and then they would blame the coach.
Right.
So at any moment, you've always got an opportunity to take whatever door you want.
Yep. Totally.
I can tell you from personal experience that the clients that take door A, their results skyrocket.
Is that what door you suggest?
Yeah, it's a good door.
For sure, man. It does have the A on it, which is by grade at the highest grade of the others. So
That's it.
It has kind of sorted itself out to the top.
Yeah. Any questions on the slide?
No.
So the 36730 rule.
Mm-hmm.
This is really cool in a sales context. 3% of the people that you speak to are ready to just pull the trigger and go.
Mm-hmm.
Then 67%.
Yeah, I cover this, by the way. I cover this on a lot of my chats with clients to help them break down how to market.
Yeah.
That's why the average website converts at about 3%.
Yeah. Oh, wicked. So within a sales context, it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to get really good at educating their brain why it's time to buy.
Mm-hmm.
So not by telling them the reasons why they should buy, it's educating them on the problem that they have.
Right.
So what I mean by that specifically is like, what are the emotional and logical consequences of them not solving this problem?
Right.
This is where a lot of your extra conversion is going to come from, is the 67% block.
Right.
We're going to get you really good at educating them on their problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it's less about us talking about our benefits, more understanding why are they buying. So you know how I was talking about what is the core reason that someone buys in a previous slide? It's because they're worried about the fear of that they lose loved ones, or they're worried about being a fraud or setting a shitty example for their kids. Mm-hmm. So it's going beneath the surface and exploring.
It's not about increasing their sales by 30%.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's the actual it's what they escape by increasing their sales by 30%.
That's it.
What's that?
Yeah, that's it. Spot on.
Yeah. Cool.
So this is just a visualization for where we'll be focusing, because you'll close the 3% easy, and you have been. So we want to work on moving that 67.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No.
Cool. So belief systems, also known as bullshits. Mm-hmm. What I'm going to do after this, I'm going to send you an exercise that I just want you to list out all of the limiting beliefs, kind of like we were doing on the previous slide, limiting beliefs, core beliefs that you have. And what we'll do is we'll do an exercise next week as well. So we'll do two. We'll do the lead versus lag measures. And we'll also do the rewriting of your limiting beliefs. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that looks like, so it's just this exercise here. It's a belief. So what does your current character believe? Current character believes that success will lose love in relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's kind of like a core belief of yours, or the loss of love. Mm-hmm. What does the future character believe? That my relationship partner is the reason why I'm gonna fucking tear the shit up.
Yeah.
So your current character's upper limit is, I'm gonna say, on average right now, it's 2K per month in commission,
Mhm.
or 75K in sales.
Yeah.
Now your future character's upper limit is 200K in sales and 14K in commission.
Yep.
So do you kind of get an idea of like how to fill this out?
Mhm.
So when it comes to limiting beliefs, I just want you to write as many as you can. So
Yep.
more of them will pop up as you write. So like, not enough leads, typing, etc. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool.
So self image, okay. Limiting beliefs, core beliefs. What talk
So
me through core beliefs though. So
yeah, so we got to your core belief. Your core belief is
okay, so we'll just leave that one then.
yeah, the
That's
loss of
all.
love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I
So
just wasn't sure if you were asking me to list more. I was like, I'm not really sure what else I would put. But
yeah, you usually only have one that's like
okay.
kind of sits there as the big rock in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool, dude. Like everyone that works with me has a very similar core belief, and it's the loss of love. Because the people I attract are very alpha. Like they're very
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm gonna make shit happen, I'm gonna meet my potential, all this
Mm-hmm.
epic shit. And they all have the same problems. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's always like, I'm worried that if I succeed in my business, that my relationship might suffer. And then I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, what if that was the reason why you succeeded?
Right.
Just cool shit like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll send this to you.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I'm also going to tag you in just a helicopter view of the sales process. And
Okay.
then I will send you a link to book in for next week. So feel free to book Thursday, Friday this week if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this to YouTube so you can have it and you can go back and
Mm-hmm.
watch this.
Yep.
Cool.